London, and today we've got a 30-minute core strength workout. Today we'll be really firing up the abdominals and making that core work. If you like the video, please subscribe to my channel, click the thumbs up button, spread the word to anyone who you think might enjoy my videos. I would be really, really grateful and really appreciate it. Let's begin. From seated, come into tabletop. Wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Let's start with a few pelvic tilts to start waking up the spine. On the inhale, belly comes down, chest comes forward, chin comes up. There's a slight arch in the spine. As you exhale, tuck the chin, lift the chest, lift the belly. Inhale, stomach comes down, chest comes forward, chin comes up. Exhale, tuck the chin, lift the chest, lift the belly, pressing into the palms, pressing into the tops of the feet. 2 more times in your own breath count. Moving through the whole expression of the spine, waking it up. And then come to a neutral spine, so not too much of an arch. Engage the belly slightly. Tuck the back right toe, lengthen the leg down the mat. We're going to press into the heel of that tuck toe. So start pressing through the palms and through the heel. Maybe start moving through on those tiptoes, forward and back. Or you can stay pressing through the heel, really feeling that stretch out on the back of the legs, on the hamstrings. 1 more breath. And then come back down, switch it round, tuck the left foot, press through the heel. Keep pressing through the palms, so not letting the chest collapse. Spine is lengthened. And feel the stretch on the hamstrings here. You might also start to feel it in the tops of your arms. They might start to get a bit fatigued. Then come back down. We're coming back to kneeling. We're going to give our wrists a little exercise. So start circling the wrists, either clockwise, anti-clockwise, in lots of different movements, in lots of different directions. And then coming on your knees, we're going to place them back down, so we're in tabletop. Start to shake out the right hand, give it a really good shake. Start to warm it up. And then place it gently back on the mat. Notice the difference between the right palm and the left palm. Before moving on to the left hand side, giving that a good shake, a good warm up. Place it back down on the mat. Feel that grounding, spread your fingers wide. And then take the fingertips so that they face back towards the knees. And you're going to start to sit back down on your heels. So obviously I'm still quite far away from my heels, but you're going to feel it quite intensely on the inside edges from the wrists up to the elbows on the inner edge of the arm. Then come onto the tops of the hands, and we're pressing through the tops of the hands, trying to lengthen the arms. And then we're coming back to tabletop. Take the fingertips so they face the edges of the mat, and then start to sway from side to side. Just bringing a bit of movement into the wrists. And then we're back in tabletop. We're pressing back to our heels, taking the knees as wide as the mat, bringing the forehead down to the ground. Child's pose. Take a few big breaths here, pressing the sit bones back towards the heels, maybe lengthening the arms down the length of the mat. Slight engagement of the belly here. Coming back to our knees, we're coming into plank. So lengthen out one leg, left leg down the mat, tap the toes, lengthen out the right leg. Shoulders are over the wrists. We're keeping ourselves into a nice straight plank. Don't let the hips sag too far, so engage the core, allow length in the spine, press through the heels, and we're holding here for a few breaths. Imagine sucking the belly towards the spine. Engaging here. One more breath. And take the left palm into the center of the mat and come onto the outside edge of the left leg. From here, you can stack the feet and take the right hand up to the hip. If this feels very wobbly, take the right foot down so you've got both feet on the floor. And from here, keep lifting the hips up. Shoulder is stacking over the wrist, and we're lifting the right arm up towards the sky. On each inhale, find yourself lengthening the spine, and each exhale, slight engagement of the core. Lift your arms up higher, lift your hips up higher. If you want to challenge yourself, lift the top leg up a little bit, avoiding an arch in the spine. Then we're coming back down, switching over to the other side. So right palm comes into the center of the mat, coming onto the right edge of the right foot, stacking the toes, lifting the left arm up. Make sure your shoulders are stacked above the wrists, or the wrist even. Holding here for one more breath. Then take the left hand down to the ground, lower down the knees, and press back into child's pose. From child's pose, come back up to plank, tuck the toes. We're lowering ourselves all the way down to the mat. So shoulders come slightly forward of wrists, elbows really close to the body as we lower ourselves down slowly. 3, 2, 1. Untuck the toes. Take the hands underneath the shoulders. Peel the spine off of the mat. This movement's coming from the top of the chest rather than the lower back. So if you took the hands off of the mat, you'd still be up here. So we're not pressing through our palms, and we're not crunching down on our lower back. Lower the head to the ground, press through the palms, take the sit bones back to the heels, child's pose. Walk the fingertips up, come to sit down on your sit bones, cross the legs if that feels comfortable, using a block underneath your sit bones if you feel that you're rounding too much. And from here, we're taking the left palm onto the outside of the right knee, taking the right fingertips behind us. Inhale, lift and lengthen through the spine, and exhale, twist to the side. We're keeping our face in line with the chest rather than looking over our shoulder. Take one more inhale, lifting and lengthening, and exhale, twisting towards the side. Maybe we're going a bit deeper. Come back to center, switch it to the other side, right hand on the outside of the left knee, left fingertips behind. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, twist. Inhaling and exhale. Coming back to center. Take the shoulders, roll them a couple of times backwards and forwards. And then we're coming to bring the feet onto the mat, flat onto the mat. Knees are bent. And perhaps there's about 60 centimetres or so between your heels and your sit bones. Sitting up tall here. Then we're taking our hands underneath our thighs. And we're going to bring one foot up to parallel, or one leg up to parallel to the mat, and then the second leg to parallel to the mat. So we can stay here, keeping integrity and length in the spine here rather than rounding, or we can play with a few options. So we can take the arms out either side, we can lengthen the legs, we can lengthen the arms. But whatever is really working those deep abdominal muscles is where you want to be. So that might mean that you're here today. When I lengthen my legs out, I start to round through my spine. So I'm going to keep it here. And that's enough. Come back down, take a few moments, and then we'll do it again. So take the hands underneath the thighs, lengthen the spine. We're bringing one foot up and then the other. We're taking our options of our arms next to our legs, straightening the arms, straightening the legs, maybe just playing with one straight leg and then the other, and see how it feels. Notice what's engaging if you're engaging those deep abdominals. One more breath here, and then come back down. So shimmying a bit further down the mat so that you have a bit of space at the top. And we're going to roll our spine down, vertebrae by vertebrae. So engage the core, lower yourself down. Great work. So shimmy a little, and then bend your knees, soles of the feet are on the mat. Take the hands either side of you. You should be able to brush your heels with the fingertips. So from here you might notice that you've got an arch in your spine naturally. You want to take the back and place it and press it against the mat. So by doing this, you're lengthening the tailbone and naturally you'll have a bit more engagement in the tummy. Now we want to be engaging those deep abdominals rather than just the six pack. So from here, we're going to start lifting first the pelvis and the hips, and then we're going to lift the spine off of the mat. So take the hands either side and start lifting. Bum first, and then peeling the spine off of the mat. When you get up to as high as you think you are able to, you can interlace the fingers underneath the body and come up onto the tops of the shoulders. From here you might feel that you can lift a little bit more, engaging the belly, and squeeze the thighs together, make them work. Holding here for 3, 2, 1, unlace the hands, slowly lower yourself all the way down. And so you can do that again, or if you have a block, what you can do is place this block in between the thighs. And on the next time we're going up, we're going to keep that block squeezed. So we're lifting the pelvis, lifting the hips, peeling the spine off all the way up, still squeezing the thighs. Interlace the fingers, coming up onto our shoulders. We're pressing our pinky fingers into the mat and still squeezing. And I'm noticing actually that my thighs keep on wanting to stop. Press into the feet, lift a little bit higher, and then when you're really at the top, engage the glutes. 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. And slowly lower down. Take the block out. Take the knees to the chest, give yourself a little squeeze, and roll around on the spine. Start rolling back and forth, hands underneath the thighs, giving yourself a massage, and then come all the way up to seated. So from seated, we're just going to stand up any way you like, no special way. Give yourself a little shake out. From the top of the mat, step the right foot back, staying on the ball of the back foot, bend into the front knee, coming into a lunge. So if you notice that your knee is tracking too far forward over the ankle, just coax it back and take however deep a bend in that knee that feels comfortable. If you coax it back, you can widen your stance if you want a deeper stretch. Now find the hips with your hands and allow the hips to be level, so hip bones are both facing forward. If you feel wobbly, widen your stance horizontally, as if you were on two skis. From here, we're going to take a few breaths. Lengthen the tailbone, avoiding that arch in the back. Press through the back heel. And as you're doing all of this, we're squeezing our inner thighs together. So we're really feeling a lot in our lower legs. And then we can reach our arms up either side. Staying here for one more breath. Then we're opening up the arms wide, grounding that back foot so it's parallel to the short edge of the mat, and we're coming into warrior two. Deep bend in the front knee. Again, check that it's not tracking too far forward, but we're still getting a deep bend. Arms are as wide, or arms are shoulder height, and we're gazing ahead to our front middle finger. Keep engaging through the core. And take the hands to the hips. Lengthen the front leg. We're pigeon-toeing the left foot in, right foot to face the back of the mat, and coming on, and bending deep into that knee. Front knee coming into warrior two on the other side. Keep grounding through that back leg, feeling the stretch from the edge of the foot lift all the way up to the hips. And our hips, we're staying quite level and stable here. Gaze to the front middle finger. Then hands come to hips. We're coming onto the ball of the back foot into a high lunge. So remember all our foundational pieces from when we did high lunge on the other side. Take what you need from there and then find your expression. Keep zipping those inner thighs towards each other. Engagement of the core, standing strong. We'll take the hands to the hips, swivel the toes back towards the front of the mat, and step to the top. Great work. Moving on, we'll start to take the weight into the left foot, lifting the right knee up to the chest. Take the lower leg in your hand and place it onto the inner edge of the standing foot. So maybe it's up on the thigh or the calf, or it's resting next to the leg and the toes are on the floor. Finding your expression of tree. Hands come to heart center, press the thumbs into the sternum and then lift the chest. And so you can stay here, feeling those ankle joints, the ankle muscles work to keep you upright. Or you can grow your tree, taking the arms up high. Maybe start a little bit of movement. And taking the hands back into heart center, lift the right knee into the chest and lengthen out the foot. Take the hands to the hips for a bit of stability. Avoid leaning back and hold here for 3, 2, 1. Lower down the leg. Moving on to the other side. Find your tree pose in this side. Maybe it's a bit different to the other side, so you can experiment with where your foot feels comfortable, where you feel rooted and stable. And then find a tree pose that works for you. And I always find it's a great time to just not be so serious about yoga and have a little wobble and see what you could do to offset your balance. And then we're taking the left knee into the chest and lengthening out the leg, taking the hands to the hips. We're holding here, maybe lifting the leg a little higher for 3, 2, 1, lower down. Give your whole body a little shake out, a little boogie, a little wiggle. Step to the top of your mat, big toes together, heels slightly apart. We're going to scoop the arms up as we sit back into a chair pose. Keep the knees together, toes together, and you should be able to see your toes just poking out from your knees, underneath your knees. Staying here or coming down a little deeper. Take 2 breaths. Feeling the length and integrity through the spine, maybe gazing up. And if you like, you can take it to half chair, so bringing the chest parallel to the ground. Arms outstretched. Tummy on the thighs. Holding here for 3, 2, 1. Place the palms flat on the mat. Fold forward. So knees can be bent. Take the feet out, pigeon toe them about hip distance apart. And we're going to hang out here in a forward fold. So take a bend in the knee if that helps. Palms on the floor. Let the head be heavy. Taking a few breaths here. If you want, start playing with lengthening the legs, but keeping the palms on the mat. With each inhale, feel a lengthen through the spine. And each exhale, maybe tucking the tummy, folding forward. And come onto your fingertips, or take the hands to the shins and lengthen the spine. So the spine is about parallel to the mat or a little higher. And then on your next exhale, fold again deeply. Bend your knees if you need. So we're going to do this a couple more times. Inhale, come to fingertips or hands on the shins, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, fold. Inhale, come to fingertips. Take the feet as wide as the mat, toes pointing out. And start moving a bit of weight, bending one knee and the other. We're going to come down to a squat. So I'm going to come and face you. Heels on the mat, if that is possible. Coming onto the outside edges, rather than collapsing on the inner edges. Take the hands to heart center. Thumbs at the heart on the sternum. Press through the elbows, opening up the chest slightly. And we're staying here. So if you can't squat all the way down, just come up here. Maybe take your butt a little bit higher than your knees, keeping the length in the spine. So you can do a little squat like this here. And take the hands to the floor. And we're lifting back up into our forward fold. We're stepping the right foot back and then the left, and we're coming into a downward dog. So press the sit bones up towards the sky. Upside down V. Pressing through the palms, press through the toes, lift the sit bones. Let's take 2 breaths together, inhaling through the nose and sighing out through the mouth. Inhale, exhale. Inhale and exhale. Great work. Drop the knees down, coming back into tabletop. We're taking the right foot between the palms. We're coming into a runner's lunge. So option to stay with the knee on the mat, or you can lift it up here. Zip through those inner thighs, place the left palm next to the right foot, lift the right arm up towards the sky. Twisting the chest over to the side of the room, gaze up to the front hand. Inhaling and exhale. Drop the right hand again, drop the back knee if it was lifted, and then start to walk the fingertips back, lengthening out the front leg, flex the foot, half split, then moving to the other side. So take the right foot back, switch it over to the left foot, tuck the back toes and lift the right leg off the mat, press through the right palm and lift the left arm up, twist to the side. Squeezing those inner thighs together. Drop the left hand, drop the right knee, walk it back, lengthen the front leg. And frame the front foot, step it back to tabletop, and then come back into plank. From here we're going to lower all the way down, so shoulders come slightly past the wrists, lowering down in 5, 4, elbows close to the body, 3, hovering, 2, 1. And we're all the way on the mat. So from here, take the forehead down to the mat, take the arms either side. We're going to do a few locus exercises. So on the first one, what's going to happen is, on the inhale, we're lifting our chest and our arms and our head off of the mat, using our core to lift us a little higher, and then lowering everything down. On the second, we'll lift our feet and our legs, and on the third, we'll lift everything up. So take the forehead to the mat. Inhale, lift the chest, lift the arms, lift the head. Breathing here. Using the core, engage, 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 and lower down. Roll the hips from side to side, take the forehead down to the mat. Inhale, just lift the feet, lift the legs up. Keep the legs together, keep the toes together. One more breath, and lower down. And then on the last one, we're going to lift everything up. So inhale, lift. Deep breaths. Toes are together. Engage the belly. And lower down. Roll out the hips once again. Take the hands underneath the shoulders, press yourself back to tabletop, tuck the toes, lift the sit bones, down dog. And take the knees back down. Come to sit back on the heels. Awesome work, guys. Hopefully your core is woken up, a little bit of interest introduction to core strengthening, and I hope to see you on the mat soon.